Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the movie Justice League. And you had a good movie in Wonder Woman. This one is just... It's not as bad as people have been saying. I mean, again, we're just getting into going for negativity for the sake of it, but there are problems in this movie. And that's sad because there was a lot of potential, and I know DC's going their own way, but this movie should prove that you really need to have separate movies to build up your characters, because pacing and editing and just trying to jam too much into one thing is a big problem in this movie. You have to introduce Aquaman, Cyborg, and the Flash in this movie. What does that mean? That means you need three separate kind of introductory portions in this movie to introduce all the three characters. Doesn't matter if you understand who these characters are, you need to know their places in this universe, which is why you need, like, Man of Steel for Superman, and Wonder Woman for Wonder Woman, and Batman vs. Superman to introduce Batman kind of into the mix. Because that takes up running time, which then leaves room for, like, putting meat onto the villain of Steppenwolf to nothing. Who, by the way, is... I hesitate to barely call him a character and more have him be an obstacle for the formation of the Justice League. Because it's really weird, the similarities between him and Loki, wanting to conquer Earth for their Dark Master. Loki and Thanos, Steppenwolf and Darkseid, who mentions Darkseid. He had previously tried to do this thousands of years before, which we see them having the gods, man, even Green Lanterns. We saw Green Lanterns. That was awesome. Nothing done with it. It was like, come on, that was cool. I'm like, there's a Green Lantern. Whee! And it's like, nothing's done with it. Just, oh, here's something cool. Yeah, you want to see cool things, right? And it's like, and it's just, okay, yeah, but why are the rest of it in the movie? There's not even the line of, like, there's no Kryptonians, no Green Lanterns protecting Earth. It's just, okay. And the mother boxes, because that's the whole thing. They evidently used these 3 mother boxes to try and make Earth into, like, a hell landscape like Apocalypse. That was stopped thousands of years before. Boxes were separated, one given to the Amazonians, one given to the Atlanteans, and one for men to bury wherever they wanted to. So, that's kind of that going on. We see that later on. We begin the movie with Batman pretty much having to deal with the parademons because they're all around, because the mother boxes are activating because of the death of Superman, which doesn't really make sense since he's only been active like recently. So why wouldn't they be active before? Unless there was another force of Kryptonians, but I mean that seed was planted in Man of Steel with Supergirl kind of, but that went nowhere. So to be all honest with you, why aren't the mother boxes activating more? Whatever. So that pretty much forces Steppenwolf to come in, gun the Themyscira, kick some Amazonian ass to take it, and then be like, ha 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 ha, and go away. He really isn't a good villain. And that's sad because there could be a lot more done. And of course, this forces the Amazonians to light off this flare. Diana understands it. Like, okay, we need to get people together. So she goes to Batman. Batman's like, all right, let's do this. So we get on the team finding mission where we get Barry Allen as the Flash. Rip, the actor who does Barry Allen is really good. All the stuff that they did with Flash with like his jokes, I pretty much laughed at and I really liked just seeing him kind of like deal with the whole situation. At one point being like, listen, I've never fought before. I've usually just pushed people and run away. And Batman just giving him the encouragement, well, go in there and save one person. And then see where it goes from there. Because they'd gotten into a situation where some people were kidnapped. It's like, okay. And then they're getting into like Batman going to Aquaman and we saw most out of Barry Allen. We see him talking with his father and everything, who's in for murdering his mother, even though he says that he didn't do it. All that kind of stuff. he's got the most developed kind of like origin story and everything. And then we also get Victor Stone, who's Cyborg, who came into contact with the Mother Box and was transformed into Cyborg. He was one of the most interesting parts because they introduced the concept of, is Victor Stone really alive? Did he die? Is this just the like cybernetic enhancements of the ghost of Victor Stone? Now granted, those parts are only teased and put in because this isn't the Cyborg movie, and this isn't the Flash movie, which the stuff that I saw, I'm like, those needed to be done so that way I'm not like, I want to look at more at this and I want more of that and learn about that more than what's going on right now. So, they were good. Aquaman, I liked, but he wasn't as fleshed out. Because we see that he has been like helping people in this like remote village and bringing in fish and all that kind of stuff. But evidently he is not the king of Atlantis because Steppenwolf's next target is the Atlantean box, which we get a cool underwater fight scene. But he takes the Mother Box and everything. He's talking to Mera. Evidently, that's the first time he's been back to Atlantis. And I'm like, what's going on with this timeline and everything? So I was like, okay, he's got to go help the other people out. This, of course, gets to the point where Steppenwolf makes his base in this burnt-out Russian place near a kind of nuclear site, kind of similar to Chernobyl, but not Chernobyl, where he puts two of the Mother Boxes. Now I got to go find the other one. Evidently, he gets to the point where he's trying to find the human one and kidnap Cyborg's dad and the rest of the Star People. That's where we get into most of the team going together and trying to fight Steppenwolf for the first kind of time. The Flash kind of like saving people as much as he can, helping Wonder Woman get her sword and all that. Which is kind of weird that Wonder Woman would be having such a problem with Steppenwolf. It's not really clearly defined what his power level set is. Now, granted, he can fight off like that we saw like the old gods, Green Lanterns, Amazonians, but we don't know why he can do that. So we know that Diana's pretty much on like demigod goddess level territory, and you would think that she would have enough power set to pretty much put up a pretty good fight and pretty much wear him down to completely kicking his ass. She killed Ares. Well, as probably much as we can figure out. I mean, they might bring him back or whatnot, but she defeated Ares. He was a god. We don't know much about Steppenwolf. We only know that he is connected to this being Darkseid. And I'm only saying that because I do know stuff from the comics. Not much, mind you. I'm more into Marvel, but I know Darkseid is essentially on the level of like Thanos for this. And I'm only going into this movie and critiquing what's going on in it, and they do not give us enough to understand who Steppenwolf is as a character. And it's like, so evidently it's an unstoppable force, at least at this moment. And that gets into a big kind of problem. So, they're pretty much almost drowned, but of course Aquaman comes in and helps them. They're trying to figure out what to do. And Cyborg's like, hey, this Mother Box thing. And they're like, well, we kind of have a problem here. We're going to need Superman. So Batman's idea is to resurrect Superman. And this is a problem because this essentially becomes Deus Ex Machina, pretty much getting Superman, a god, out of a machine, the Mother Box. And that's another thing. These Mother Boxes can do pretty much anything. Resurrect a dude with cybernetics, destroy a planet if they're fused together with two other ones, and bring back Superman, which was Batman's idea to dig up Superman's body, take him to the Kryptonian ship, put him in the thing, and evidently the Flash had to run and Flash started. It was just like, okay. Of course, Superman comes pissed off and everything, and starts fighting him. Now, granted, I understand a moment of confusion, but that is not conveyed enough, or conveyed well enough to understand why he would be fighting these people, because they didn't really show really much any aggression. I mean, I'm talking about most of them, because Cyborg armaments thought it was kind of like an aggressive move, but like stopped himself from kind of like taking a big kind of risk at him. But then he starts fighting, and it was like, okay. The real funny thing was like when the Flash was running around him and Superman was like keeping up with him, and he was like, oh shit! He's like, that scared me! And I'm like, okay, that's funny because you're like the fastest man alive, and this dude can keep looking at you while you run around, and you're like, oh, and it's like it was like Barry was pooping himself. It's like, I'd be afraid. So of course Batman comes in to pretty much focus his anger. He's like, oh, and evidently Superman was able to remember that stuff. But of course they brought Lois Lane in. They were able to reconnect and everything. Which of course gets me to another kind of thing, is at certain spots you can see where they CGI'd out Superman's mustache, which just makes some weird stuff. Once you hear about that, you're guessing every scene that it's occurred in. It doesn't matter if it's there or not. You're like, okay. And it's just like another thing to kind of like put together. It's like, alright, so they figure out that it's in Russia, and they kind of go off. They have this plan of attack. Steppenwolf is pretty much trying to transform the planet into kind of a hellscape apocalypse kind of scenario, which I don't understand why he had a dome built around the thing and the nuclear power plant. I'm just like, was it for protection? You've got like an army of parademons and everything. This thing's probably giving up some crazy ass energy. It's also building weird frickin' things throughout the ground. And it's just like, okay. It was just a strange thing. But, granted, I think that they were doing the CGI a little bit better in this, but it was just, at some points, it would sometimes take you out of it. Now, Cyborgs was really good. It didn't take you out. You're like, okay, that dude is cybernetic metahuman. Flash's stuff with him going super flash and everything, really well done. It's just at certain spots with, like, Superman is, like, kind of weird looking. It's like, alright, his face just, oh, okay, weird looking. So, of course, they get through everything. They're fighting and all that. We get some cool scenes where everybody's, like, trying to get to the mother box. They got their plans going off. Cyborg would pretty much try and, like, get them to be separated and everything. Well, everybody's trying to keep Steppenwolf and the parademons at bay, which I would think that Wonder Woman and Aquaman would be able to, like, really whoop some ass on them and take them down a couple pegs, but of course, Superman comes in and almost, I know he doesn't completely invalidate the League, but he pretty much lays some whoop-ass on Steppenwolf and is able to help Barry Allen take and rescue survivors, while also helping Cyborg separate the mother boxes. And it was just like, what it had me thinking was like, this is supposed to be why the Justice League is together, not why Superman can almost do everything by himself. Granted, it's not shown that badly, but it puts it in such a way that if Superman wasn't there, they would have failed. And I'm not okay with that. It's usually a teamwork thing. Even when you're looking at like the Avengers and all that, we've got the Hulk, who is like one of the strongest Avenger. We've got Thor, who's a god. Granted, they're put in situations where they need the whole team to do it. Superman just comes in and starts like going at some stuff. And I don't put that on the character. Superman is strong and can do a lot of stuff. It's the writing and the pacing and the execution. It's just like, So Steppenwolf is pretty much whooped ass completely and gets afraid, and his parademons start attacking him, and then he gets teleported by Boom Tube, that's the name of him, out of there. And it's pretty much where it ends. Superman's back all on his good side. Lois Lane's back and feeling cool. His mom's got his house back because Bruce Wayne bought the bank. And Bruce Wayne is like building back his family manor to make for use of the Justice League. So, alright. Side note, when they were trying to figure out how to do the whole thing of resurrecting Superman, Batman acted like a dick out of nowhere. Another writing thing calling out like why Wonder Woman hadn't been a leader and all that and being affected by Steve Trevor's death where she like punched him, and I'm like, everybody was like, oh listen, if she kills you, we're backing her up. I'm like, yeah, what? Batman doesn't know how to play well with others most of the time. I understand that, but he usually doesn't act that much of a dick, especially since loss of family members and loved ones is pretty much his driving motivation to be Batman and to stop crime and save the world. It just felt very weird and like, and that felt that they did not understand the character and were just inserting drama for the sake of inserting drama. So everything's pretty much wrapped up at the end. We've got them all kind of figuring out how to do the Justice League thing, and we get one end credit scene where it's pretty cool. We get Superman and the Flash racing to the Pacific Coast to see who's the fastest. Now, I have a problem with this because Superman's flying and Flash is on the ground. I would think if they were doing it, Superman's got to be running as well. But I like the little kind of funny scene. It was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then we get the end credit scene where Luthor escapes from captivity, and we find out that he was freed by Deathstroke. And that was pretty cool. Deathstroke's armor looked really cool. And I'm just, that is the cool stuff that we want. Like, alright. But the way Lex Luthor's like, oh, we need a league of our own. I'm like, just the way it was said and the delivery. I know you're setting up for the Legion of Doom kind of stuff, which is a cool concept, but if you don't understand your characters and you cannot execute this movie is a whole problem of not properly understanding your characters, in the case of Batman, and not understanding who Steppenwolf was, and just not executing it properly with the pacing, the editing, the forced jokes on something. Now, granted, levity works, but it has to work with the characters in the universe. Just trying to kind of copy a Marvel thing and just like force humor out of nowhere does not work. It doesn't need to be like that. There are funny situations that can happen. The Flash was like one of the most natural things. We got some cool stuff with Cyborg with like him doing a booyah. I wish it was a little bit more boisterous, but I'm like, I will take what I can get in that case. But there's just it's just like, it felt like they were trying to be funny. And you always kind of want to make it more organic and just work with what's in and what's going on, the situation, the characters, and just try and find the comedy that would occur out of there. And now, I did laugh more in this than most of the other ones, but you gotta get that. The execution, and not understanding how to get your characters into it. I want good DC movies. I want a good Superman movie. I want a good Batman movie. I want a good Wonder Woman movie. I want DC to succeed. I want for the people that are fans of DC and these comic book characters to have good movies. And that's coming from someone who's more of a Marvel person. I just want to see good movies. And when I see these kind of movies, where people are just like, it's just and they just don't understand why people like these characters, what the core of these characters are, and we just get these kind of messes, and people don't understand, oh, if we make it all dark like Batman, we'll make money. No! Batman works as dark because Batman is dark. That's why they had a problem with Man of Steel. When you make Batman the broody one, how do you differentiate him from the brooding Batman? I wouldn't think it would be this hard. But evidently it is, because Wonder Woman was a great sign. It's like, you understand Wonder Woman. You took a crazy kind of thing, a Thor-like being, Amazonians, Greek mythology, World War I, and it worked. And then we get this, and it's more of, you took what was good there, you did have it in here, and then it's just like just trying to mash everything together and just hope that it all works. And I don't know where they go from here. They really just need to, I could almost say that they would, I don't really have a problem with the actors. If we could get a scenario where they essentially do an Infinite Crisis kind of thing, where you can keep the actors, but like have new directors, new writers, new anything. And granted, Wonder Woman stuff can mostly be kept intact, but just pretty much make an Infinite Crisis kind of scenario, wipe the slate clean with a kind of reboot like that, which you can do. They can do it, and then essentially make another kind of like one where it works. That would be the best kind of option. I mean, I understand that they keep going forward with this, but the only one that I'd really be interested in would be Wonder Woman at this point. Well, also the Flash, Cyborg, and like Aquaman to see if they are able to actually do a solo film on their own and actually take what we liked about these characters and kept it kind of like going on. But I don't trust them to be able to do that. So overall, I'm just disappointed in what this film is because there's a lot of promise shown in it, especially with the new characters introduced, but that overall destroys the plot of this one because you have too many things trying to focus at once. You make the villain more of an obstacle than anything and just being like, I need the mother boxes for my Lord Darkseid to make the planet ours. Ha ha ha. I really wanted this movie to be good. But, hey, we'll see where DC goes in the future. So those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.